Hello, welcome to behind the scenes of Spamton Gets Ratioed. If you haven't watched that already, you probably should. Yeah, otherwise this entire video might not make sense, or might not be interesting, or I might kill you. Let's just jump into it. This is the second time I've tried to record this. Yeah, that's definitely the only reason why this video is 7 months late. So when did I come up with the idea for this masterpiece? I know, right? Genius. Well, it was about March or February last year, that is. Oh god, it's been over a year. When I was talking with my friend Dante Riceart, who happens to voice Spamton, by the way. And we made, one of us, I can't even remember who, one of us made a joke about a character from Deltarune getting ratioed. Usually it's the kind of joke that you would just like forget about the next day, but for some reason that one just really stuck in my brain. And yeah, so it was around, I don't know, I want to say like 3 a.m. I just had this idea rattling around in my brain, and so I wrote a script. And by a script, I mean just some like incoherent, rambling thoughts. But thankfully what I had jotted down was enough to like jog my memory the next day. So I fixed it up, formatted it correctly and stuff. And yeah, then I had a script. Except for the fact that, in the first like version of the script, Spamton just like spoke like a regular person. Just for, because while I was working on it, I didn't need to have all the, Spamtonified dialogue. So yeah, it was a little cursed. Alright, so we got a script, yay. Now on to the hard part, actually making it. Of which the first step is contacting the voice actors, and also voice acting myself. Usually when I make animations, for whatever reason, I usually wait until I have the final voice acting first, and then I start storyboarding and animating. But while making this animation, I decided to start on storyboarding before I got the voice acting back. And I don't know why I only just thought of doing that like now, because it's like a pretty standard way to do things, but it did kind of reduce the production time a little bit. So yeah, probably gonna do that in the future. Speaking of voice actors though, I want to take a moment to thank the voice actors. As I mentioned before, Dante Riceart, Kenny White, aka the Earl of Suds, and Anti-Darkheart. Honestly, the animation really would not be the same without just their like fantastic work. Like Birdly and Spamton were such fun to animate throughout the video with their like really energetic voice acting. Which is something I struggle with, but they did a fantastic job. And even though Anti-Darkheart only appears in the last scene, I do think I really appreciate their contribution as well. And I just thought their voice fit well for Chris as well. Well, that's another interesting thing about voice acting specifically with Undertale and Deltarune, is that characters don't particularly have established voice. So there's a lot of, I guess, creative freedom you can have. Which is why I made Susie Australian. Definitely wasn't just so I didn't have to do an accent or anything. I did get a few comments talking about Ralsei's voice, but no one mentioned the accent, so I'm gonna assume I did an okay job there. But yes, with this audio and the storyboards, as I said that I did earlier, it was then time for animating, the fun part that definitely doesn't take so many hundreds of hours. Okay, not hundreds, but like, no, I think it took nearly 100 hours. I don't know. I don't really keep track of how long it takes me to animate, but actually I guess this is a good time to talk about it. To make this video, it took about 3 months to make, if I remember correctly. Not all of that was like, full-time work, but yeah, that's how long it took. For reference, Terraria is Cool took 4.5 months, and I think the Minecraft animation I did also took around couple months. So over the course of those like 3 months of production, one thing that you kind of run into sometimes is losing motivation. Yeah, everyone's favorite thing. Yeah, it's very easy to lose motivation or inspiration, as you're working on something for a very long time. But I didn't really find that happening too much throughout this video, which is maybe why I kind of look back on it so fondly, just because it was a lot of fun to make. Particularly one thing that I did to kind of keep up my enthusiasm for the project was I made a little playlist of videos that were like related to Deltarune or even Spamton specifically. Just to kind of remember why I wanted to make the video. And you know, just to inspire me or whatever. So yeah, I want to give a little shout out to Spamton's Big Shot Autos by Alex Rochon, I hope I'm saying that right. Ad Infinitum by Stupendium, of course. I also, the kind of Spamton's glitchiness and teleporting was kind of inspired by that. Also Dial Tone Telephone by The Winterer, also just another good Spamton animation. And also music is particularly good because you can listen to things while animating. So yeah, I listened to this remix of Smart Race by the Matthew Flames and Spamton CD by Lucas Pukas. So yeah, that was my little inspiration playlist. Speaking of videos that inspired me though, one thing that is not related to Deltarune that I did kind of draw inspiration from is Foxy Gets Hooked by Harvey Rothman. Yeah, when I was scripting Spamton Gets Ratioed, at the same time I kind of just remembered this animation exists. I think I showed a friend or something. Yeah, there's a lot of kind of just minor things that influenced me throughout making Spamton Gets Ratioed. Unintentionally, I think the like format of the title was also inspired by that. That wasn't intentional, but I do find that funny. Yeah, so with the help of those videos, also just listening to the Deltarune soundtrack, and yeah, as I said before, also just having some really good voice acting, it just made animating it just kind of a breeze. I wouldn't say a breeze, but it made it like, you know, worthwhile and fun. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about the backgrounds. That's one thing I also did differently in this animation, is that I drew the backgrounds in a separate program to the animation. If you're curious, I used Clip Studio Paint for the backgrounds and Toon Boom Harmony Essentials for animating. Firstly, just kind of inspired by Foxy Gets Hooked, as I said, but also inspired by, you know, there's like old cartoons, you know, like Dora the Explorer, where you can very clearly see that the background is like stylistically different from the animation. I didn't want it to be like, you know, that drastic, but I did want to have that slight like layered feeling to it, I guess. That's like separation, also because I felt like it enhanced the door joke. Yeah, so that was interesting. This is the first time I've done that, and I think it turned out cool. Oh my god, scene change. Yeah, I thought it'd be cool to just go through the video and just share whenever I have some trivia to give, like the last one I did of this. Okay, we got your stupid key. Alright, starting off, this first line I did with Susie, I recorded it first thing in the morning because I wanted it to have that extra tiredness to it, you know? Also another thing, so the line she says is, okay, we got your stupid key, and it was only upon watching it on YouTube, and once it was published, that I realized it probably should have been the empty disc. Because for whatever reason, throughout making this video and also just like playing Deltarune, I just confused the key gen and the empty disc all the time. But my official artistic excuse is that I also think it's like pretty in character for Susie to like not really be paying attention or care about what's going on, so I'll let it slide. Oh, this is the first, and definitely not the last instance you'll see of me including my initials just wherever I can, so yeah, look out for that.
No, you circus in town!
Oh yeah, with this background, so originally I wanted to just like, you know, just get the background directly from the game, but I thought to myself, I wonder if I could just make this. It'd probably be faster than trying to find someone who's ripped it. So yeah, I just opened Blender and made a little circus background.
You!
If anyone's wondering what my favorite frame in this whole animation is, it's this one.
If there are any do not pass go signs.
Ooh! First hidden link of the video. Well, it's part of a link where there's like the stop sign glitchiness, whatever. That is the like second half of a YouTube video link, which links to the glorious Octagon of Destiny. By Octagon Collaboration, which is a great video. Unless you have sensitivity to flashing lights, then maybe I might give it a pass, but yeah, I just thought it was way too appropriate to sneak in there.
Does this look like a—
Oh, that in the background is a cease and desist letter, by the way.
I ain't afraid of an ogre.
Hyperlink blocked.
That clip of audio is from the Ghostbusters theme. I didn't think I would have to explain that, but I got a few comments asking about it, and they made me feel very old. Oh, that little clip of audio, that little throat clearing. So, I was, originally that little cough wasn't in there, but when I was like animating or editing, I noticed like, it feels like, you know, there's something kind of missing there. Problem was that, as I said, I was up to either animating or editing, I can't remember. So I had to ask Kenny, the Earl, I'd ask him, I was like, hey, can you cough into a microphone and then send it to me? And yeah, thankfully it did, and I think it made the video better. I just thought it was, that's probably the weirdest request I've made for a video.
Got any proof of that?
I don't know why Ralsei's on the ground for this shot. I just like, I storyboarded that in, just because it was what I saw in my brain, and I just never changed it. Oh yeah, with this shot, because the background is revolving, and because it does more than like 360 degrees of spinning around, the background I drew for it is like infinitely tileable. It's like a really long rectangle. Yeah, so that's how I did the background there.
Do what you will with my 168 follower Twitter account.
I don't know why I specifically made him have 168 followers. I think maybe I was like, I wanted to make it 169, but I was like, nah, I can't do that. Oh, in the background here, there's a bunch of Easter eggs. Let's go through them. So in the little remaining section, first it says 4 and then it says 8, 0, 9, which is referencing Spamton Neo's total hit points, which is 4,809. Then after that, question marks, you got screaming, and you got my initials again. I told you there'd be more of that. Oh, here, 126 gallons. If you didn't know, 126 gallons is the equivalent of the real measurement of 1 buttload. Okay, here, for whatever reason, I thought it'd be funny, because like this is like a piece of paper and a clipboard, right? I thought it'd be funny if Birdly wrote his password as a bunch of asterisks. It doesn't make sense, I don't know why, I find it funny. Oh, here we've got a bunch of little words popping up slowly. Most of them are self-explanatory. There is one though that is a bit more niche, where it says Auntie Donna Podcast, episode 284. I listened to the Auntie Donna podcast way too much while making this animation. I believe that episode is one where they made a parody song about stock. So you know, stock, like, yeah. Oh, here, again, a bunch of stuff. Most of it's pretty self-explanatory. Oh, but would you look at that? There's a link to my Patreon. Also, Queen's Twitter @ is the, like, serial number that she says is her name. And Spamton's @ is the email guy, because, you know. And of course, at the bottom we have a little reference to,
Challenge pissing! That's right, challenge pissing!
really good reference.
Chris.
This is the first time I've ever done a post-credit scene, which I might do in the future because it was pretty good for audience retention. But also, yeah, it was just kind of nice to have like the opportunity to just include another joke that isn't necessarily attached to the rest of the video. So yeah, I don't know, might do one of those in the future. My camera's really low on battery, so I'm gonna do this quick. As I mentioned earlier, I have a Patreon if you want to see more behind the scenes stuff. Not necessarily like this, but I occasionally post like screenshots as to what I'm working on. Yeah, any support is greatly appreciated. I need to finish this really quickly, so I'll just say thank you for watching. Thanks for, I guess, nearly 1 million views on the animation. Yeah, and thanks for watching this video as well, especially because it's on my second channel. Yeah, this is my second channel. I post more behind the scenes-y stuff if you're interested in that kind of stuff. Here's where you find it. Good job.